Okay, so everybody knows the story, right? The Lone Rider galloping through the night. The British are coming.
Oh, yeah. Paul Revere, Midnight Ride, iconic American legend.
Totally. But what if I told you that Paul Revere wasn't alone?
Hmm. Now that you mention it, you don't really hear about anybody else. Huh.
Right. That's what we're going to be taking a deep dive into today.
Okay, love it. Sounds like fun.
Yeah, so we'll be looking at an episode of the History Revisited podcast to uncover the stories of the other Midnight Riders. You know, the ones whose names have kind of been lost to history.
Yeah, it's really interesting how that happens, right? How one version of a story becomes the version everybody remembers.
For sure.
Makes you wonder what else we're getting wrong.
Well, that's what we're here to find out.
Exactly.
So let's set the scene. Boston, April 18th, 1775. Tensions are rising between the colonists and the British troops.
Things are getting a little spicy.
Right. And our story starts in a tavern. Dimly lit, smoky back room kind of place.
Okay, I can picture it.
There we meet our three main players. Paul Revere, we all know, a silversmith by trade, but also like a hardcore revolutionary. Then there's William Dawes, a tanner and a fellow patriot. And rounding out the crew is Dr. Samuel Prescott, a young physician who wasn't afraid of anything.
Okay, a real motley crew. What brings these guys together?
Well, they've got a mission. Word is that the British are planning to march on Concord.
Oh, right. To seize the colonial militia's weapons, right?
Oh, got it. And these three guys, they're the ones tasked with warning the militia. These are just ordinary citizens, shopkeepers, and farmers, you know. But they were ready to fight for their freedom.
Wow, so these guys are basically riding off to kick off a revolution. That's crazy.
It really is. And it was dangerous. If they were caught, they could have been hanged as traitors. So Revere and Dawes set off on two different routes, trying to spread the word as quickly and as secretly as possible. But can you believe this? As they both approached Lexington, where revolutionary leaders John Hancock and Samuel Adams were staying, they bump into each other.
No way. So it's like a, what do they call it? A meet cute. Except it's more like a...
A revolutionary meet cute.
Yes, something like that. Okay, so what happens next?
The podcast actually includes a dramatic recreation of their meeting, and one of the riders warns the other, but the redcoats are everywhere. We must be cautious. Really emphasizes the danger and urgency they were facing. You know?
Oh, for sure. So they make it to Lexington and warn everyone there. Then what? Do they just head home and call it a night?
Not a chance. They press on towards Concord, but now Dr. Prescott joins the group.
Yeah.
So now it's like a midnight ride posse, you know?
Okay, three guys riding through the night trying to warn the militia. Sounds like something out of a movie.
It really does, right?
Yeah.
But it gets even crazier. Shortly after, they run straight into a British patrol.
Oh, no. Talk about bad timing.
Total chaos ensues. Revere's captured. Dawes is thrown from his horse and has to make a run for it. But Prescott manages to escape.
Wow. So it's Prescott who actually gets through to Concord, delivers the warning.
Exactly.
Wow. That's incredible.
All right, so now think about this. Prescott is the one who actually gets the message through and sparks the revolution, but we only ever hear about Revere. Why do you think that is?
Well, I'm guessing it has something to do with Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, right? Didn't he write a poem about Paul Revere?
Ding, ding, ding. You got it.
Longfellow publishes his super famous poem, Paul Revere's Ride, in 1861. It romanticizes the whole event, focuses entirely on Revere, and pretty much writes Dawes and Prescott out of the story entirely.
Huh. I mean, I get it. Poems need a hero. And Longfellow's poem is certainly a lot more catchy than Prescott's prudent trot.
Dawes' daring dash.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty amazing that a poem written decades after the actual event could have such a huge impact on how we understand history. Like Longfellow basically single-handedly made Paul Revere a household name.
He totally did. So why do you think Longfellow chose Revere as his hero? Well, you have to remember the context. Longfellow was writing right before the Civil War when the country was incredibly divided. His poem, with its simple, heroic narrative, really struck a chord with people who were longing for unity and national pride.
Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It also reflected a popular literary trend at the time, Romanticism, which emphasized individual heroism and dramatic storytelling. So, in a way, he created a story that fit the needs of the time, even if it wasn't entirely accurate.
So this one poem, written for very specific reasons, ended up shaping our entire understanding of a pivotal historical event. It's really incredible.
And more than a little bit unsettling.
For sure. Because it makes you think about all the other historical narratives that have been shaped by the cultural and political context in which they were written, like whose voices are being heard and whose are being silenced.
Exactly. It's a great reminder that history is never just the facts. It's always someone's interpretation of the facts. And those interpretations can be influenced by all sorts of things, from cultural trends to personal biases to political agendas. We have to be critical thinkers when we engage with history, always questioning the sources and trying to get the full picture.
Couldn't agree more. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. Makes you wonder whose stories we're still missing out on. What other events might have been shaped by individuals we've never even heard of? It's something worth thinking about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Who knows how many Paul Reveres are out there just waiting for their story to be told?
Exactly.